Lord, there's two trains running.
It's literally right over there.
It's right there.
Now the one heading my way.
Okay.
One train leaves around midnight, other train.
Everybody, want to welcome y'all to Ground Zero, the Green Room podcast. We have a wonderful, amazing, talented artist in the building with us today, Miss Carolyn Wonderland.
Howdy.
First of all, welcome to Ground Zero. Welcome to Biloxi. We are so excited to have you tonight. We have a couple questions for you tonight just so the people can know a little bit more about you.
Well,
We're going to start off with Mick, so take the floor, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mick, and I'm so excited to be here with Carolyn Wonderland. I've been watching so many of your videos on YouTube and just immersed myself in your wonderness. So I guess first thing, I saw where first female rocking guitar player for Alligator Records in 50 years. Is that true? Did you see that?
I did see that. It seemed odd to me. I thought for sure there'd have been someone in there before me. Like, I mean, there's so many that you know, I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, I can name about 30, like, in a, you know, but yeah, it's kind of a trip.
Yeah. And it's...
And it certainly won't be the last.
Oh, that's good. There's so many out there that are just amazing.
Yeah.
And so, and the new record is...
Tempting Fate.
Tempting Fate.
Yo, and it is.
It is. Produced by Dave Alvin.
Yes.
And I want to say that, you know, again, I'm not hip to everyone, so you turned me on to another incredible artist that I was able to delve into that rabbit hole as well, and he and his brother and all their vocal stylings, and so thank you for that.
Oh, heck yeah,
another,
man, the Blasters forever.
Yeah, another branch on the wonderful tree. But so let's see. New record's doing well.
Yeah.
Great reviews. Some BMA award mentions and some.
Wow.
So it's been a pretty rocking year. Would you say?
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. I think about it. Sometimes it's better not to think about it. But yeah, it was actually nominated for like a Song of the Year, Fragile Peace and Certain War, and we were up for a contemporary blues female, I believe, and then we got to the level of For Your Consideration on Grammys, and I had never done that. And then my boss, John Mayall, his record was nominated for a Grammy, so got to see him on there on TV all dressed up all nice. It was really cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Congratulations on that as well.
Ain't that sweet?
Huge. Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool. Probably, you know, it's one of those things that you don't ever expect to happen. So that was sweet for a minute, and all right, back to work.
Yeah, that's right. So, Hobbs, you have some questions?
Yeah, so I'm Hobbs, by the way. Nice to meet y'all. How you doing? So we're talking Alligator Records. Explain to me the how. Let's see, how can I word that? So the wholeness of Alligator Records. Alligator Records is an enormous size company as far as their pull in the blues. So how does that feel as far as to be on that roster?
It's amazing because I think about, like, when I was a kid, you know, like most of my record collection was either Alligator, Antones, or Arhoolie. I mean, it's not like I tried to just stay in the A's, but it kind of worked out that way, you know. It's like, and so to get to like have a call from Bruce Iglauer, it just blew my mind because I mean, Hound Dog Taylor was played more often at my house than anything else for years and years. You know, it's like I tried so hard to, you know, touch the hem of his garment, so to speak. You know, try to write something that might have, you know, emulated him a touch. You know, and I did not necessarily succeed at that, but you do get to write songs and get better at your own thing. I think through that. So it's huge to get to go be on that label. I couldn't believe it when he called, and I was super excited when he said he's gonna put it out.
Yeah. So we had an artist here that was on the Alligator record, and he actually mentioned you and talked about how you were going to be an amazing artist when you came, and that would be Christone Ingram.
Oh, you're kidding me! He's the best.
He definitely spoke highly of you. Yeah.
He is too kind, and he is mind blowing. What I love about hearing him play is that he comes out of the chute already sounding like himself. There's no like, oh, definitely this guitar player. It's like, nope, it's him. He is in complete thoughts, beautiful, and I'm so touched and embarrassed. I don't know if you can tell I'm blushing through all my powder.
No need to be embarrassed.
Humbleness.
You're an amazing artist. There's no need to be embarrassed at all. And I know for sure this guy right here have spoke very highly of you, and he's the reason why you're here right now.
Thank you for
honestly,
that.
Yeah, because
Thank you.
I really didn't know a lot about you, and then he was talking, and then he's like, "We got to get Carolyn Wonderland for October. We got to get her. We got to get her. We got to get her. We got to get her." And then we couldn't get you, and then it was like, "All right, we got to get her for some date." So I just happened to talk to your agent, and we was able to make it happen.
The guys at Intrepid, man, they make magic happen.
Yeah, shout out Will Johnston.
Yeah,
Yes.
they will. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back childhood, right? I heard you mention childhood. So I did a little research. Back in 2001 is when you decided music is my thing, right? And you had a van. If you want to kind of give that story real quick of your traveling story.
It was a little bit earlier than that, but
It was a little bit early? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I was a yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to play music since I was a kid. It's always what I wanted to do, and so I just always pursued it. When I got thrown out of high school, it kind of made the decision a little easier. It's like, well, definitely got to sink or swim at this point, you know. So got at it, went on the road, and and just kept writing and doing stuff. And for a little while, it turned out that it was how do you say? A comedy of errors, but like heavy on the errors, not so much on the comedy at the time. I ended up living in my van for almost 2 years, and because the choice was either to come up with money for a down payment, and I'd have to do something else, and I wouldn't be able to play music or fulfill these tours that I'd already promised. So instead, I kept the payments up on the van, and it's not like I was homeless. I was van full, you know what I'm saying? And you find places, you can get a room every now and then and wash up when it's important.
For sure.
Yeah. But like all homeless folks, at some point you find a dog finds you. So I found Bessie Mamucho, and she saw me through the bit of that, and she'd come to gigs and have a good time with me, and it's a good thing, I mean. These days I don't take a lot of that for granted, but it also led me to be part of this really great group that we have in Austin. And it's like Marsha Ball and Shelley King and myself and Nancy Copeland and Ruthie Foster and Eve Mosse. A bunch of us got together, Sarah Brown, and decided that our friend Lavelle White needed to stay in her home. And it was hard to do in Austin, and this is 10 years ago that we started this. And she's in her 90s now, and so we started homeaustin.org, and what we do is musicians in Austin 55 and older who are having trouble with their housing, we want to keep them out of that system because it's really hard to get out of that system once you're in it, Yes. So it's like we help them stay in their homes, pay their utilities, and do what we can. And so every year, that's what we've been doing the last 10 years.
That is so incredible.
Yeah,
What's the name of that website one more time?
It's homeaustin.org.
Wow, that is incredible. I just love when artists think outside of the talent, outside of the show, and actually put things in place to help other people. That really touches me because at the end of the day, you could be totally focused on what you have going in your career and, your movement. But to take time aside to put back into other people, like that's incredible.
Oh, it's honestly, it's just being able to fall into that group of strong women that just blew my mind, because they were like, I'm oftentimes what one might call, graciously the stoner on the couch with the ideas, but do I have to follow through?
The green room.
Every one of these women, like Nancy Copeland, Marsha Ball, you want to get something done, you call one of them, that will get done. So. Wow. It's a great life lesson. I love getting to work with them.
Yes, ma'am. Mick, you got another question for us?
Well, that's I was talking about those YouTube videos and stuff, and I was compelled by the one that you did that I came across where you were at a city council meeting, and instead of doing the speech, or instead of doing you sat down and played a song, and it was so cool. I just thought, wow, check this out. Cool. Yes. And I think it had something to do with some club. You were keeping some clubs alive or something to keep the music going, right?
It was the zoning issue, and oddly enough, you're wearing the Fitzgerald shirt, from Houston, Texas. It was when I was a teenager. Yeah, I went to city council, and I was too nervous to talk. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just get shaky or weird. And I was like, no, but I can sing them what I want to say. So I wrote this thing, and it was 2 minutes, so I knew that I'd be done before the bell went off. And I guess public access must have taped it. I don't know how it ended up being played years
Well,
later.
it was so
It
cool.
quite funny.
It was great to see the expressions on their faces, you know, so because
Like, well, this is different. Where's the cocktails?
it definitely had an impact. You know what I mean? I think it really got the point across to it. I thought that was so brilliant that you'd done that, you know, and that you know we at Ground Zero Biloxi are also kind of in a unique position where we're involved with this revitalization of downtown Biloxi.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was so cool to see you do that. And some of the other things, one of the other ones was when, let's see, I think you were doing Only Women Bleed or something like that. Was that the old one?
Yeah, sometimes was it like complete with the fake blood tablet?
I think you almost had blonde hair or something like that.
It's entirely possible.
Okay.
Oh, the lighting is always hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are just, I just had such a blast just going back into your, I guess the
thanks.
rabbit hole of Carolyn Wonderland, or, you know, and
I've been lucky enough to have folks that come out and tape some of the fun shows, and I like that. It's kind of interesting to go back and go, oh, that's what Japan looked like that year. That's what we were doing.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I suppose old enough to be lucky enough that not all of my childhood mishaps are on there.
so real quick too, trumpet.
Yeah.
Caught you playing trumpet on one of those.
Oh, yeah, every
so
now and
every
then.
once in a while, was that like from high school days, or is that something?
Yeah, it was the musical instrument that was in my house. Like my mom had a piano she got in a flea market, and there was like her Martin guitars that I scratched up. That's why I don't use picks. I wasn't allowed to use them after that. And then and my aunt had a trumpet. So when it came time to join like band, you know, I was like, I want to play saxophone. It's like, we have a trumpet. Okay then, a trumpet it is. It was so fun. So
Yeah.
I like playing it. I'm not very good at it, but it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So I have a question about when you talk about music. So who are your biggest inspirations? And then let's talk on the same question. Who would you in a dream world, if you could work with them, who would be that or those people?
Well, kind of in a way. I got to play with a couple of my heroes that blow my mind, you know. But like getting to do that last record with Dave Alvin, that was like childhood dream. I couldn't believe he said yes, and then I suddenly had to really get my act together like fast. Like, oh dear,
Okay.
whew. But I mean, my goodness, I'd say like folks that I grew up just like wishing I could do anything close to. Aside from Hound Dog Taylor, like, you know, Freddie King, just absolutely nuts about Freddie King. And oh my God, there's a lot of folks, you know, in Austin too. I hear a train. I feel like I should play a train song. That's what we do at home whenever a train goes by. It's like, well, gotta stop and play a train
Everybody
song.
got a trumpet.
Boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-ba,
We need a
boom,
trumpet.
ba-ba-doo-dum, ba-da-ba-ba-dum, boom, boom, boom. Though there's two
Yeah.
trains running,
It's literally right over there.
It's right there.
not one heading my way.
Okay.
One train leaves around midnight, other train just for one day. It's almost out. All right. There you
Oh,
go.
we can't give too much now. They gotta come see the show. She got a show tonight. But no, okay. So 2008
Yes.
came out with a record. What was the name of that?
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
Yeah.
Such an interesting name. Where did you get the inspiration for that name?
I'd written a song of that title, but a different spelling. So I thought it would be, I don't know, cheeky and like call the album Misunderstood, but spell it differently. It seemed rather clever at the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very clever.
I had fun with that. We had about 3 records that came out on that label, and that was Ray Benson's label, Bismo. So, yeah, he has a really groovy band in Austin that travels all over the world, Asleep at the Wheel.
Ugh.
And so I got lucky to be on his label for the better part of 10 years, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you about is your husband, right?
Mr. Whitney.
So he actually got to get a chance to go on SNL, correct?
Oh, yeah, he was a writer for them for a few years.
Right. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Oh, he's an amazing cat. I mean, yeah, he's had a long life of crazy stories that he's best to tell. But yeah, he wrote for SNL for a bit and was one of the originators on the Daily Show when they started, and he likes to tell folks that he's retired. He's at home making, but I mean also like folks come by and ask advice all the time. But he's growing the hottest peppers known to man, and that's what we have in our backyard. And so he's always amazing. I love getting to come home and see what he's up to. It's always something new. So yeah, it's kind of the luckiest thing in my life.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
he's in your video too, isn't he? In the in the garden scene where he's
Yes.
back there digging or something. And
Oh yeah, man.
I read that article, for the Austin Chronicle article too, that had some of that information about him growing the peppers, and that it's good for your throat because it causes trauma, but it's like psyching it out or something.
Yeah,
right?
man. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's rushing all the health.
Oh yeah, rushing to hell. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you talk, I mean,
That's okay. Yeah.
So when you talk about touring, you touring, you're a touring artist. How often are you on the road, and how often are you at home as far as your home work life?
Oh, it's always a struggle to find that balance.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was a while where we were doing like 250 days or more out, you know. And then, you know, it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, you miss your home. Pandemic, I learned a couple of things, you know. It's like, well, I got really lucky. It turns out my husband's a great guy.
There you go. There you go.
Because you're always gone, so it's very
you
different.
figure that
you
out,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, so thank God. But yeah, I try to find a balance. I like to be, you know, I want to be on the road long enough to miss home and want to go back, but I want to be at home long enough to miss the road and want to go
There you
back.
go.
So, you know, I figure if you run like 6 weeks, you know, 2 months, that's probably a decent amount, and you don't miss too many bills.
There you go. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mick, did you have any final questions for Miss Carolyn?
I don't. You kind of covered everything. You know.
Woohoo!
I mean, I could go on. with
Go on
some
all
of
day,
it,
yeah.
but I'm
But
just
then we'll have
starstruck.
a set list.
Yeah.
Hobbs, did you have any final questions?
So I don't have anything. I will speak to the people out here, even though y'all not gonna see this right now. Whenever y'all do see it, you need to go check out Miss Carolyn Wonderland. Check out her YouTube. Check out her social media if you want to give out your social media platforms.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook. I'm oftentimes there, but just to say howdy. Twitter as well, and just CarolynWonderland.com. Real easy.
Amazing. There it is.
All right.
Carolyn Wonderland. We're signing off from Ground Zero.
Last thing. I love asking this question. It's my absolute favorite question to ask all artists, right? So what I've learned is a lot of times in artist shows, they have messages that they want to get across, right? So I just pretty much give this platform to you to tell the people pretty much what type of messages you're trying to get across from your music, your shows, and things of that sort.
That freedom is to be enjoyed and experienced with every breath you take, and it's worth fighting for. And if not everybody's free, then ain't none of us really free.
Hey, that's it.
That's
We're
it.
cutting it right there. Y'all
Hey.
have a good one. Go
Mic
check
drop.
out Miss Carolyn Wonderland. Thank you so much for joining us today in the
Thank
Green
you.
Room, and y'all continue to check us on the Ground Zero YouTube channel.
We're out. Mic drop.